All right, ready to go? That doesn't sound good. Does this? No, it's still not working. Is this any better now?
Testing.
Testing. Done.
Test, test. Mic check, check. Test, test. Okay, I think it is gone.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Are we good?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. The time is 4:07, and I will now call the September 23rd, 2025 regular City Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Let the record reflect that all of members of council are present.
Okay, now's the time for invocation that will be led by Imam Al-Khazawini from the Islamic Education Center of Orange County. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Lord, we gather tonight in a spirit of service to our community. We give thanks for the blessings of the city, for the beauty of our surroundings, and for the people who call Newport Beach their home. Bless this council and all who serve here with clarity of mind, humility of heart, and steadiness of purpose. Grant them the wisdom to discern what is just, the courage to make difficult choices with integrity, and the compassion to care for all residents, especially the most vulnerable among us. May this chamber be a place where respect guides every word, where collaboration triumphs over division, and where decisions made tonight bring peace, fairness, and harmony to our city. We ask for strength to serve faithfully, for unity to overcome challenges, and for hope to continue striving toward the common good. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If you would please join me as we salute the greatest symbol of freedom in the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and invite the Friends of the Library, President Amy Hunt, and any members of the Board of Trustees who may be in attendance, I see a few, to please come forward for the check presentation. Also joining them will be our very own Library Service Director, Melissa Hartson. And then after the presentation of the check, I invite my colleagues and we'll join for a photo opportunity included with the library's management team as well. So thank you for being here. We love big checks.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We love being able to give it. I'm Amy Hunt. I'm president of the Friends of the Library, and I have several of our board members here with us. This way. This is Catherine Wallach, who's our secretary. Becky Halliday, who's in charge of membership. And behind me, Jana Collister, who's in charge of publicity. The Friends, as most of you already know, we started in the early 60s. I was not part of that. And it's been a dedicated bookstore for the 30 years that the library's been here. We have about 80 volunteers, and we're an all-volunteer organization. And the volunteers work in the store, either with customers or in the back, pricing donations, sorting donations, and at our sales. And over the past 30 years, we've accumulated about $5.7 million in donations to the library. And if any of you have been in our store, and I would hope that you all have been in there, and hopefully many times, most of our stuff is $1 or $2 for $1. So we've sold an awful lot of books in the past 30 years. And we're thrilled to be able to do this. We want to thank Melissa and all her staff, who are always so welcoming and agreeable and pretty much let us do whatever we come up with, as long as it's okay with everybody else in the board. And so we are very happy to be here and to give this check to Melissa and the library for $250,000.
Wow.
A little bit more than we normally have, like we did 6-7 years ago when Corona Del Mar was demolished and then remodeled. We paid for most of the new materials, and we're going to be doing that for Balboa whenever that happens. So anyway, on behalf of the Friends, we are thrilled to present you with this check.
Nice. Okay. Melissa, do you want to say anything? Or yeah? Go ahead.
I just want to thank the Friends of the Library just for their continued support year after year. This large check really does go a long way to provide resources for the community, not only physical materials, but also programs throughout the year. So thank you.
Love that. Terrific. Well done. Councilmember Grant.
I also want to thank you. Personally, I've not only been in the bookstore, but about 20 years ago, I was working side by side with many of the members in the bookstore. It was a very enjoyable process for me. I was also on the library board of trustees, but in working in the bookstore, I really understand what it means to bring us $250,000, or as you said, over $5 million over the last decades. Every book is lovingly cared for. The donations come in. It's so much work. It's heavy work and dirty work sometimes. And everybody there is just having such a great time. And it's just such a commentary on our community and how we all come together. I also work on the refuse ad hoc committee with my colleague here, Michelle Bardo. And I'm very interested in recycling and repurposing. And there's nothing more meaningful or purposeful than repurposing a book because somebody enjoyed it and then they pass it on. So I'm very grateful to you for all the hard work, and really it's an honor to have you guys working in our city. Thank you.
No, it's great. Newport Beach is better because of the Friends of the Newport Beach Library. So thank you for what you do, and let's take a photo.
Let people know we're accepting donations during the closure.
Okay, terrific. So I have a proclamation for National Service Dog Month. Hopefully we have some dogs here, maybe. I will now read the proclamation for September 25 as the National Service Dog Month, followed by a presentation of the proclamation to Joan Ligay. Did I say that right? Ligay. Ligay. Okay. Joan Ligay. Joan Ligay, Canine Companions volunteer, Denise Phillips, Canine Companions puppy raiser, and is it Chai or Kai? Kai, a future service dog. Please come forward at this time, and I'll read the proclamation, and then we'll join my colleagues for a photo. Which one's Kai? Oh, I love this. I don't think anyone's happier than Robin. This is great. Okay, whereas the safety, resilience, and preparedness of our neighborhoods are the utmost importance to the city of Newport Beach and its residents. This is not it. It's like I don't know what a Bonita Canyon has to do with this. We're doing great this morning, afternoon, evening. Okay. Got it. National Service Dog Month. Here we go. All right. We do care about safety for our animals, though, for sure. As we believe in the joyful, transformative power of the human-canine bond and inclusivity of all citizens. In the United States, 70 million adults have a disability and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is growing. Canine Companions created the concept of service dogs for people with physical disabilities 50 years ago in 1975, creating a new kind of support for disabilities. Canine Companions is a nonprofit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities by providing expertly trained service dogs and ongoing support to ensure quality partnerships free of charge. That's remarkable. Canine Companions and their service dogs empower people with disabilities to lead life with greater independence by providing best-in-class training, ongoing follow-up services, and deeply committed community of support. National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting their handlers. The City of Newport Beach continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizen and their trained service dogs are embraced. Now, therefore, I, Joe Stapleton, Mayor of the City of Newport Beach, on behalf of the entire City Council, in recognition of service dogs and the adults and children with disabilities in our community, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Service Dog Month. I encourage all citizens to celebrate service dogs and be respectful for the rights to safe access in our community afforded to the adults, children, and veterans who lead more independent lives because of their assistance. Well done. Congratulations.
Well, I'm Joan Legay, and I was going to say a lot more, but honestly, that proclamation really covered it all. It was really beautifully written, and thank you for reading the entire thing. We are Canine Companions for Independence is celebrating its 50th year, and we're so grateful that the City of Newport Beach has proclaimed September National Service Dog Month. I've been a resident of Newport Beach for over 40 years, so personally it makes me very proud that our city is recognizing Canine Companions. I'll just touch on a couple things. You may not know Canine Companions is a nationwide organization, and there's a campus, the Southwest chapter is here in Oceanside, California. There's a campus there that's really quite remarkable. On the campus, there's offices that house the staff and the professional trainers. There's kennels for the dogs. There's also a part of the campus is housing for the potential recipients who come and spend 2 weeks on campus and are cared for. Their families are fed while the process happens where they're potentially matched with the proper service dog for their particular needs. And we not only have service dogs for children and adults, the disabled, hearing impaired people, veterans, but we also have service dogs that serve in the healthcare industry, in the education system, in the criminal justice system. And most recently, we're beginning to provide early alert canines, which can help with people that have specific medical problems, diabetes, for example. So the program is certainly expanding. And while many of the recipients have different disabilities or needs, what they all have in common is that they've lost their ability to be independent and navigate and live alone and navigate in the outside world. And truly, these dogs provide that bridge. It's remarkable, and I became aware of the program a number of years ago when my 32-year-old brother became severely disabled with a degenerative disease, and was dealt a pretty grim diagnosis, and was told he could never live alone. But long story short, along came Canine Companions and provided him with a service dog and opened up the world to him again and allowed him to live independently and to go out in public and not be ignored. Because, believe me, these dogs are magnets.
Yeah.
When they're wearing these dogs in training are yellow, and the actual professional service dogs graduate to a blue vest. And when you're out in public and somebody sees that dog, it's a magnet. They greet you with a smile. They don't ignore somebody who's sitting low in a wheelchair and maybe has a speech impairment or something else. So they're truly magnificent animals. The bond that they have with their recipients is incredible. And it's an amazing organization that truly changes lives. So thank you again. I'm here with a number of incredible volunteers and puppy raisers. Heidi is here with Rose, and Rose is a future service dog, and Denise is over there with future service dog Kai, and Peggy, and Peggy is with Lucy, future service dog Lucy, and Jerry is with his service dog Colbert. Have I forgotten anybody?
Any more dogs in the audience?
They're just amazing people that have dedicated so many years of raising incredible service dogs. So thank you again for recognizing Canine
Awesome.
Companions for Independence.
Well, thank you for what you do. Yeah.
Bet.
Let's take a photo.
Let's do it.
Say if the dogs want to stay, they're more than welcome to. Okay, so now I'm going to read a proclamation recognizing the Newport Bay Conservancy for their legacy of service in the preservation of the Upper Newport Bay. Representing the Conservancy and joining us this afternoon are Heather Chislak. Am I saying that right? I blew it, right? How do you say it? Wow, I got to talk to my... See, that is not what it says. C-Slack. All right, let me talk to Molly about how we pronounce C-Slack. All right. Yeah, that would have been a lot easier. All right, Heather C-Slack, Operations Manager, Board Members, Mario Cuevas. Yeah, I would have got that one. Diane DeRudy. Is Diane here? Oh, hey, Diane. Okay, and Board Member and Naturalist Maureen Flanagan, Julie Powers, Treasurer and Board President Brian Sue. Please come forward at this time as I read the proclamation. And you guys have a presentation tonight, too, so this is double.
I know. 1-2 punch.
I love it. I love it.
Do we say killing two birds with one stone?
I don't know if we can.
Can't say that.
You did, not me. All right, Newport Bay Conservancy, NBC, traces its heritage to 1967 when a passionate group of citizens, including Frank and Francis Robinson, formed the Friends of Newport Bay to protect and preserve the Upper Newport Bay, one of Southern California's last remaining estuaries. Through decades of unwavering dedication, that grassroots movement grew to encompass restoration, education, research, and advocacy efforts under various names, ultimately becoming NBC in 2010. The Upper Newport Bay, also known as the Back Bay, is home to nearly 240 species of birds and numerous threatened and endangered species, and serves as a critical habitat for wildlife, a hub for environmental education. Volunteer-driven organization with over 200 trained volunteers, guided by a hands-on board and small dedicated staff led by Heather Cieslak, Operations Director. Has continued more than 260,000 hours of volunteer service to restoration, education, and stewardship, embodying the spirit of community action and environmental responsibilities. The NBC continues to inspire new generations of environmental stewards through ongoing outreach, public programming, and training, ensuring the long protection for this essential estuary ecosystem. I therefore, Joe Stapleton, Mayor of the City of Newport Beach, on behalf of the entire City Council, do recognize Newport Bay Conservancy for its extraordinary legacy of service and the preservation of Upper Newport Bay for future generations. Congratulations. Go ahead, Heather.
Should we put on the presentation? Or I can
Wanna
just
do
say...
let's do the proclamation,
Let's do
thank
the
the board, and then we'll have you come up after our
Perfect.
last proclamation.
Well, I would like to definitely honor, it is an honor, Mayor Stapleton, Mayor Pro Tem, and all of City Council on behalf of the Newport Bay Conservancy to accept this proclamation this year. Spanning over 50 years of volunteer support, we are able to connect with over 55,000 residents, members of the public, tourists, and visitors each year to educate them on the importance of nature. We are so fortunate in Newport Beach to have set aside this 1,000 acres of open space to host all of these endangered plants, animals, and the diversity of multiple species to then protect our habitat, knowing that along our California coastline, over 95% of these coastal estuaries and bays have been developed on. So these animals, the welfare of the environment in these areas is really critical. And so we thank you for acknowledging that this evening. Behind me, I have some of our dedicated board members, President Brian Sue, Diane DeRudy, Maureen Flanagan, Board Vice President Bettina Eastman, and Education Committee Chairman Mario. So behind me represent just five am I counting right? 5 of the over 2,000 trained volunteers that we have and go out and do thousands of hours, over 10,000 hours of service annually to either educate the public from anything from kayak tours, doing visitor assistance at the Peter and Mary Moose Center, to doing nature walks, kayaking tours, participating in the overnight kids camp, fostering interest in nature with the city, and then embarking on these larger restoration projects, because we know even though this 1,000 acres of open space is protected and designated as a nature preserve, ecological preserve, and marine life protected area, that these spaces still need help to restore them to be in the best shape in order to support these many species and the environment for water quality and whatnot. So we appreciate the acknowledgement this evening.
Well done. All right, terrific. Let's take a photo. Okay, I'm going to invite forward Gunnar Gooding. Gunnar. What did I say? Gunnar? I'm doing great tonight. Okay, I'm going to invite Gunnar Gooding. What am I saying? Gunnar. Gunnar Gooding, Bonita Canyon Maintenance Association President and leader of the Fire Wise Task Force, and Fire Marshal James Gillespie to receive the proclamation. After I read the proclamation, I'm going to ask colleague Councilmember Grant to say a few words since she helped lead the effort for this designation. And then immediately following that, I'm going to ask my colleagues to join me for a photo. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So the safety, resilience, and preparedness of our neighborhoods are of the utmost importance to the city of Newport Beach and its residents. Bonita Canyon has become the first neighborhood in Newport Beach to earn the prestigious FireWise USA designation awarded to by the National Fire Protection Association. This designation recognizes the outstanding efforts of the Bonita Canyon community to reduce wildfire risk through collaboration, education, defensible space, home hardening, and proactive vegetation management. All things our fire marshal talks about. Bonita Canyon residents working together with their homeowners association, council member Robin Grant, and the Newport Beach Fire Department have demonstrated leadership and a strong commitment to public safety and environmental stewardship. The FireWise USA designation benefits the entire city by improving wildfire preparedness, fostering community engagement, enhancing emergency response coordination, and serving as a model of resiliency for other neighborhoods. The Newport Beach Fire Department commends Bonita Canyon's initiative and stands ready to support additional neighborhoods in pursuing similar designations for the betterment of our entire city. I, Joe Stapleton, Mayor of the City of Newport Beach, on behalf of the entire City Council, hereby proclaim Bonita Canyon as the FireWise USA neighborhood in Newport Beach and express our heartfelt appreciation for their leadership, commitment to safety, and their inspiring example of community action in the face of growing wildfire risks. Congratulations. You want to start? Yeah, Gunnar, you want to start?
I just want to appreciate the board, the entire city council for their recognition. Chief Gillespie was amazing in giving us support, and Councilwoman Grant was a great source of information and support as well. But we got some pretty impressive results by this certificate, because not only are we educating the 287 homeowners in Bonita Canyon, but we've seen material reductions in insurance rates. When we renewed this past year, the HOA reduced its insurance rates by $1,000 annually, and many of our individual residents have reduced their individual homeowners insurance rates by significant amounts as well. So this is a worthwhile program. It's causing this neighborhood to be safer from a fire perspective. We appreciate your support and the council's recognition. So thank you.
Well done. Thank you for your hard work on this. That's terrific. Councilmember Grant.
Gunnar, I really want to just thank you so much. I work with a lot of people all throughout the city, throughout the county, and I have never seen a force like you. You took the reins on this project and made it happen. I think Fire Marshal Gillespie can attest to the same thing. Your leadership is really the reason that we have this, and I think it's especially important to recognize that you're not just doing it for our community, but that you've reached out to the larger Newport Beach community to now start to help other homeowners associations accomplish the same thing that you've accomplished for Bonita Canyon. And it's really a very mindful and purposeful way that you're going about this. And I really look forward to the next step, which is actually implementing the plan. We have the plan in place. Now I know that you're working diligently to get our homeowners in our, I don't know how many homeowners we have, 250?
287.
287 homeowners to actually implement the plan and make their particular properties as safe as can be. So I really appreciate all the work you did, and I, really have not seen anybody work as hard for something as I've seen you do in a very short period of time. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Well,
Thank you.
that is saying a lot. Well done. That's a big deal. Fire Marshal, would you like to say something?
Certainly. It's just a momentous occasion.
Yeah.
We've talked to so many HOAs about participating in this program, and Gunnar was the first to really run with it, and he did set the example for the city of Newport Beach. We're the first one in Newport Beach. There's about 1,300 in California, and it does lead the way for home hardening, a grassroots movement, education for homeowners and people that just may not be aware of what we can do out there. When Robin and Gunnar approached me about this, it was probably our 21st person to talk to me about it that said, we're going to run with it, and within a month they had ran. It was
Wow.
pretty impressive. So Gunnar's leadership was fantastic, but it takes 8 homeowners to do it. It doesn't take the whole community, and you don't have to be neighbors. If I can get 8 people from any community, we can get more communities to participate in this. Newport Beach Fire is here to help support that and continue to build that wildfire resilience in our community.
Sounds like Gunnar should be getting a proclamation. So, well done. Way to go. Congratulations. We'll take a photo. Thank you. All right, I think we're seated now for the rest of the meeting. Okay, my favorite part of the meeting, the history of Newport Beach. So if you are new to a city council meeting for 2025, welcome. This has been a highlight of my mayorship, is all about celebrate Newport, the people, the projects, the history of our great city. And I don't think you can really celebrate the history of the city of Newport Beach without talking about important organizations like Saving Our Upper Newport Bay. And Heather Cieslak is here to talk about, once again, a presentation about the history of saving our Upper Newport Bay. So Heather, the floor is yours. Thank you again.
Thank you again, and welcome again, City Council. We wanted to, the bay is so photogenic, and so I put together a slideshow of some pictures as we go through to talk about the fight to save Upper Newport Bay. Again, we kind of already went through it, but the Newport Bay Conservancy, we started out as Friends of Newport Bay to fight for the bay's protection over development, and we've morphed over 50 years to become Newport Bay Conservancy, where we protect and preserve Upper Newport Bay and its watershed through education, restoration, research, and advocacy. And I just love this photo from the Orange County Archives. This is where you would be looking at the dunes inland from the bay. West Bluff and East Bluff. This is from 1919, just after the city of Newport Beach was incorporated. The Upper Newport Bay, you can see what it is today. It is surrounded by our urbanization, but you can see it really lies within the heart of Newport Beach. It is the largest natural estuary in Orange County. It is one of the largest natural estuaries in Southern California. The ecological reserve, which is the 750 tidal acres, was designated in 1975. The Orange County Parks designated the 300 acres of the bluffs where the Peter and Mary Moose Center sit in 1989 as a nature preserve. And then the city of Newport Beach, along with some of the pocket parks, are open space designations totaling 1,200 acres of open space for both the public and the environment to enjoy. Here again, courtesy of Orange County Archives, before the bay was protected for the environment, it was used in a variety of different ways. On the top corner of your screen, you can see a salt extraction facility that would have been in the Upper Bay, kind of closer to East Bluff and Back Bay Drive. This was constructed in 1934. A gentleman by the name of Oscar convinced James Irvine to produce a salt extraction facility in the Upper Newport Bay, and that in its heyday produced over 6,000 tons of salt for the area. In 1938, there was a major flood, which ceased to have the operations exist. And then in 1968-69, another flood occurred where that was abandoned. The other picture that you see with the cars, that was early before the 1960s, when you would just drive your car up with your jet skis or your boats and launch. This would have been where the bait shop is, over by the dunes area, looking at castaways. Bottom area, Newport Dredging Company, back in the early 1900s, they were the ones that dredged the Upper Bay, and some of that dredged material was then used to produce some of the islands in the lower harbor. And then you can see some of the development. I think that's Park Newport area back in the 1970s when that development was going in.
Heather, before you move on, Mayor Pro Tem and I are having a conversation. That's not a photo of Newport. That's like the Midwest, right?
That is in the Upper Newport Bay.
Are you? Well, that doesn't make any sense.
In the 1930s.
The mountains, nothing. It's just crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Huh?
Smog, yeah.
Smog,
Or it could be in the summertime. We know in the wintertime, our molecules are condensed so we can see farther out into the mountains.
Or was that in the Back Bay?
Clearer. That was
where
in
was
the Back
it? Do you
Bay.
know exactly?
Huh?
Do you know where it was?
That would have been closer to Jamboree Road and Back Bay Drive and East Bluff Avenue area, below what we call now Jamboree Vista Point.
Yeah.
I know,
Crazy.
right?
Sorry.
Pretty amazing stuff. And then what is the Back Bay Science Center? I don't have a picture of this, but it is called Shellmaker Island because the Newport Shell Company dredged, and they used some of those shells to put into chicken feed for calcium supplements. So Shellmaker Island was a chicken feed supplier, and so that stopped in the heyday of that. Also in the 30s to the 40s, they would use about 1,200 tons of shells put into that chicken feed as supplements. So Shellmaker Island is because they literally took shells and used it for chicken feed. So yeah, there was lots of other ways that the Upper Newport Bay was used before it was designated as an ecological reserve. Your points where Big Canyon is and the mouth of Big Canyon, that was called Vaughn's Launch, which was a public launching area for your jet skis, your watercraft, and whatnot. And so that was originally dredged in the 30s so that you could do some water skiing and whatnot in the upper bay. But all good things must come to an end in that way. We did in 1963, the Irvine Company and the Board of Supervisors came to do what was called a land swap, where they wanted to swap the tidal area of the Upper Newport Bay with other properties inland to be able to develop it. The Upper Newport Bay into boat docks, recreational facilities, that of the Upper Newport Bay, only 23% of that Upper Newport Bay area would have been accessible to the public. So in the and then they had put up these right to pass permission of the Irvine Company. So the couple that you see in the picture, the Robinson family, lived over on West Bluff on Nottingham Road, and they saw that the beach access, which was now the Newport Aquatic Center, was closed off to the public. That started a decade-long crusade to save the bay from development. Not because of necessarily the ecological benefits, but that only 25% of the bay would have been publicly accessible with that development. So in the lower courts, they upheld the Irvine Company's decision to do the title swap. At the state level, then, that they reversed that in a court of appeals because in 1973, because they determined it was a violation of the Tideland Act, which means throughout the state, throughout our United States, these tidelands, these shorelines belong to the people, and that extended into the Upper Newport Bay. So the Irvine Company dropped its lawsuit, and in 1975, the state of California purchased those 650 tidal acres from the Irvine Company for $3.2 million from funds the state had received as mitigation from the Santa Barbara oil spill that happened the decade prior. And so with that lawsuit settled, became that 650 public tidal acres. The state designated as an ecological reserve in 1975. And since, throughout these 50 years since, the Newport Bay, Friends of Newport Bay Conservancy Naturalist, and now Newport Bay Conservancy have been walking this line of both protecting the environment and making sure that public access is there and it is free. So we help our partners at Orange County Parks operate the Peter and Mary Muth Interpretive Center that is open every day of the week, but Mondays from 10 to 4. We produced an underwater video showcasing the bay during COVID because we had the center closed and couldn't do anything. So why not take a boat, a diver, and an underwater camera and just explore? So we've been able to do that. And then in 2006, the city, in partnership with the County of Orange, the state of California, opened up the Back Bay Science Center, which is open to the public on Sundays from 10 to 2 as the Newport Bay Conservancy volunteers and staff host that facility. So definitely, if you haven't been, join those now or go visit soon. Just go. It's fun. If you have kids, both facilities are amazing. Even if you don't have kids, both facilities are amazing. Really, the importance of Newport Bay, it supports the biodiversity. I am from the Midwest. I migrated here 20 years ago, and instead of cornfields, I get to see a plethora of plants and animals in my daily life, and it is just lovely. We have the Upper Newport Bay provides environmental services. It is a filtration for water. It helps water quality. It helps with flood control. And it supports our own, as humans, recreation and education. We get to see thousands of students from second grade up to 80 years old just coming and enjoying the bay for everything from kayaking, running. Even a little area of Bayview Heights still has that horseback riding community. I wanted to showcase just a handful of the thousands of organisms, both underwater and above water, that the bay provides a home to. The bay not only provides a home to your residents of Newport Beach, but your animal residents, like we recognized some canines earlier. There are thousands of animals and plants that are supported by this 1,000 acres of open space now. And then, like I said, these bays are mostly developed along our coastline. Some of the handful of endangered species that our restoration work and the educating work that we do on a daily basis helps a handful of these endangered species that you would find at the bay, and then multiple other species of special concern. And it is worthy to point out that some of these species are not doing so well. And so that is why we consider ourselves, even though it is protected, that we need to do what we can to educate the public about staying on trail, having dogs on a 6-foot leash, doing things like that. We can really help protect this wildlife because it is their home too. So education, what do? We share the value of the bay, connect with the community, and we do this by visitor assistance, school program, public programs, special events, and more. In habitat restoration, what do? We remove things that aren't supposed to be here to support biodiversity of the different beautiful plants and animals that are supposed to be here. So on one side, you see both the Encelia and buckwheat that are hosts to these insects, and black mustard, which we don't like so much, right? So those are the handful of things that we do on top of the big projects. And that is it that I have. But we'll continue to help restoring nature and connecting the public while balancing the community access with protecting the environment. So thank you so much. I'm glad that throughout the 50-year history, we've had thousands of volunteers to really drive. I speak in front of you today, but I wouldn't be here with the thousands of volunteers and thousands of hours that they spent connecting the public. So thank you.
Well done, Heather. Congratulations to you and the Newport Bay Conservancy. Did you guys do that cleanup this last weekend? It was.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about the
How did you
cleanup.
forget that?
We had 750 members of the public out around 10 different cleanup sites all around the 11-mile radius of the Upper Newport Bay. We, with 50 trained volunteers and partner staff, we removed over 15,000 pounds of trash and recyclables from the bay. We filled up a 40-yard dumpster, cubic yard dumpster, a 20 cubic yard dumpster, and 2 other 10 cubic yard dumpsters. So it was an amazing effort, and we can't wait to see the trash wheel operating.
Hopefully that'll stop
for a
at the
full
trash wheel.
season during nesting season. So next year, hopefully, we won't have to pick up as much. So thank you.
Well, that deserves a round of applause. Congratulations. Well, thank you for all of you for being here and your hard work and preserving our Upper Newport Bay. That's great. I went for a run really early that morning and I saw porta potties along the running trail. I'm like, are these new? And I figured you guys were doing a cleanup. So let council maybe know next time you guys do that. I didn't get notice until it was over. So it'd be good to get out there and help clean up. 15,000 pounds.
I have an old picture of your Newport Beach police pulling out a big TV from
Oh. Okay, well, we'll sign all 7 of us up with our police and fire and lifeguards. We'll be there. Okay, terrific. Now's the time for council announcements or reports from council members or committee activities, and the time for council members to request an item to be placed on future agenda. Councilmember Boygan, do you have any announcements or reports?
No report this evening, but I did want to recognize Marcel Aguilar. He's a junior at Newport Harbor High School. He's my mentee over there at the program that I know Councilmember Bartow is a part of, and former Mayor O'Neill did, and I'm not sure if anyone else on the council participates, but it's a great program that gets some of our youth involved in a lot of our civic stuff. So thanks, Marcel.
Okay, terrific. Council Member Barto.
Yes, I was going to mention a highlight of my week, or lots of events this week, but was walking around with my mentee and introducing her to lots of staff and showing her the traffic cameras and how our emergency operations works, planning, and we got to head over to the fire station to be part of a badge pinning on one of our rookie firefighters completing his first year, so that was super fun. I really enjoyed showing her the city, and it's always nice to nurture people's interest in what we do. And then another highlight was the unveiling of the Duke Kanamoku plaque over there in CDM, Vista Point. That was a commemoration of the Great Rescue that happened about 100 years ago, 1925. And that was just a fun and very beautiful morning to recognize the commitment our community has to life-saving.
Terrific. Thank you, Councilmember Grant.
Yes, I agree. There was quite a bit going on in the city in the last couple weeks. We had a car show at Oasis. We had Art in the Park, the dedication of the plaque. One really interesting event and new event in our city was the Lawn Bowling Club hosted a Laguna Beach versus Newport Beach tournament, and several council members participated, as well as staff from both the city of Laguna Beach and the city of Newport Beach. And unfortunately, Laguna Beach was the winner of the tournament and went home with a pretty fabulous trophy that the lawn bowling group made. But it'll be an annual event, so we'll have a chance next year to gain the title. I also wanted to compliment our Deputy Community Development Director, Jaime Murillo. He presented at Speak Up Newport this couple weeks ago since our last meeting, and was very, very well received. We got the most compliments after an event that we have ever gotten. I think that the presentation was especially relevant. It was about the housing that we're going to be seeing happen in our city, and Jaime was very well versed in explaining it to the community, and it was very well received. So thank you, Jaime. And then finally, I attended the Mobility 21 Summit. I'm on the Transportation Corridor Authority Board of Directors, and was invited by them, went to the summit with a lot of industry officials and electeds to explore transportation opportunities throughout our county. It was very informative, and I look forward to bringing that information back to the TCA. Thank you.
Terrific. Councilmember Vaughn.
Nothing.
Okay. Councilmember Weber.
Nothing.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
I think I'm supposed to mention that I too went to the Mobility Summit as the vice chair of Orange County Council of Governments.
Okay, terrific. And as your mayor, I have been busy on the circuit. Erica here at City Hall calls it razzle dazzle. I've been doing plenty of that. A lot of ribbon cuttings, a lot going on in the city. I did attend the Balboa Bay Club's Gentleman's Smoker. They've raised over $2 million for local scholarships for students. So it was an incredible evening. I attended and presented to the Yachtsman Luncheon. I was also doing my duty and attended with Councilmember Barto the Porsche grand reopening. So as your mayor, we support sales tax in the city. They help us continue to make sure we don't have any potholes in the community. So it's phenomenal to see Porsche grand reopening. If you haven't been over there, it's worth seeing. It's world class. So they brought me in a Porsche 911 Turbo S directly from Germany. I thought maybe they're going to give it to me, but it's above my $25 acceptance level on my Form 700, so I did not accept it. But it was a fun opening with Porsche. So I also attended the plaque for Duke, the surfer, the rescue in 1925, as a history buff here in the city of Newport Beach. And that was really cool. Also, the Oasis car show, good for Friends of Oasis for putting that on. One of my favorite events as your mayor this year has been War Heroes on Water. So on Saturday, I had the privilege of going over to Anthony Shea's house on Linda Isle. He brought in 120 combat vets who've seen some stuff. All these are wounded vets, war veterans in our country. And he got 60 of his friends to bring their world-class sport fishing vessels to his dock. So for 4 hours, I watched soldiers jump onto these fleets of boats and go out in the open ocean, and spent 3 days fishing. And I will leave here hopefully before 6 and head over to the hotel to give out the awards for those that caught the largest fish. So they've collected over $7 million in donations for Freedom Alliance. So congratulations to Anthony Shea and his entire team. It was probably one of my favorite events as the mayor. So it was cool to give a proclamation and celebrate our heroes. And of course, everyone failed to mention it, but your mayor did a 30-mile crossing in the open ocean. I've been talking about it for the entire year. I do have to give some special recognition to our harbor master, Paul Blank, who did support Vessel on his personal yacht across the ocean. So thank you, Paul, for making sure I was safe. And to our fire chief, Boyles, thank you for bringing your tourniquet, which we did not need. But he provided me with a lot of electrolytes and Uncrustables. So 7.5 hours, 30 miles, 132 paddlers, 128 of us completed it, landed at Newport. We left Avalon at 6:10 a.m. with a nice Hawaiian prayer by Paul Blank. It was just an incredible moment. We raised over $450,000 for the Ben Carlson Foundation for water safety and lifeguards here. So Chief O'Rourke, you got to be stoked on your lifeguards. They are the best of the best. It was an absolute pleasure being welcomed to that community and doing that crossing. And I said, if I can't finish first on the water, I will finish first in fundraising, which we're able to do with over $26,000. So thank you to everyone who supported that initiative. But it's something I'm very proud of. And there's a lot going on in the world, and we took a horrible tragedy and we turned it into a beautiful legacy, and that's what Newport does. So congratulations to everyone who supported and the hundreds of people that were on the beach to welcome us home. So those are my announcements. We'll continue to move on. Thank you. Let's see. Madam Clerk, please read the notice regarding public comments on agenda and non-agenda items.
The City Council of Newport Beach welcomes and encourages community participation. Public comments are invited on items listed on the agenda and non-agenda items. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes per person to allow everyone to speak. Written comments are encouraged as well. The City Council has the discretion to extend or shorten the time limit on agenda or non-agenda items.
Okay, we'll now proceed with public comments on all agenda and non-agenda items. Please note that members of the public will still have an opportunity to comment on agenda items under consent, public hearings, and current business later in the meeting, provided they do not offer comments at this time.
Adam Leverance, I just wanted to clarify. I had emailed the clerk's office yesterday, so non-agenda occurs now?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been moving it over, but this is the way it's going to be from here on out.
Okay,
so
great.
sorry for any confusion.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had some slides that I hope to have called up. On the top of this, there's a headline from an LA Times staff writer from September 5th. It says, State Lands Commission draft report weighs in on Newport Beach mooring permits. From that article, it says, Assistant City Manager Simone Jervis told the Daily Pilot, quote, the commission made their position clear. People can't be buying and selling state tidelands. It's the public's lands, the state's lands. Transferability is going to have to come to an end at some point, close quote. And then below that, there's a Voice of OC article headline, Newport Harbor Mooring Battle Heads to State Lands Commission. That's from September 9th. And quoting from that article, Jerges said that there is no legal way to continue allowing the sale and transferability of public state tidelands, close quote. Below the black bar, oops, still on the first slide, there's a portion of a mooring permit, an offshore mooring permit, and there's terms and conditions, and number one, in the green boxes, it indicates that it's for the temporary use of the mooring location, and further below it says the mooring permit does not create or represent any form of property right or provide any ownership interest in the underlying tidelands which are held in trust by the city and owned by the people of the state of California. And then next slide, please. These are sections from Title 17. The first one, 1701, defines public trust lands, which I hope most are familiar with. 1740 references liveaboards, and part of that, again, says, nor does it create any property right to the mooring site. And then Chapter 1760 from Title 17, Harbor Permits and Leases, it references city-owned or controlled tidelands, that is offshore moorings. Again, it talks about the temporary use of a specific location. And again, says a mooring permit does not provide any ownership interest in the underlying tidelands which are held in trust by the city and owned by the people of the state of California. Clearly, mooring permits defined in code don't convey deed or title to land. And as I noted at a recent council meeting on the city website, the assistant city manager, soon to be city manager, was a chief operating officer of a real estate investment company and currently holds a real estate license. And I don't see how someone with those qualifications can claim that mooring permits are selling tidelands. I've heard the same sort of misstatements out of a couple of harbor commissioners, and I would like more truthfulness going forward. And again, it seems like deception is being used to try and push an agenda, and it seems improper to me, and I hope it stops. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mosier.
Mayor Stapleton, members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier. According to the agenda, you're about to consider directing the city staff to bring back a resolution, which if you adopted it, would create a council ad hoc committee to evaluate potential sites for a new police station headquarters. My comments about that are, I thought a few years ago we spent quite a lot of money buying a property at 1201 Dove in the airport area, which we were assured was the ideal site for a new police station headquarters. I realize that not everybody in the city, not all residents, perceive that as an ideal location, so I'm very glad that you are being open-minded and considering other possible locations. But I do have some concern that in considering those other locations, it is yet another council ad hoc committee, which I assume in this case would be 3 council members. The city clerk on her website or web page of boards, commissions, and committees already lists about 12 of those. Problem with those committees, and I don't think the list is current, the public has very little idea what's going on with those committees. So forming a committee to evaluate police station locations pretty much ensures that most of this discussion and the evaluation going into making a decision about that is not going to be public. So I would suggest that you direct the staff to bring back a resolution creating an ad hoc committee that will be committed to meeting in public so that the public has input on this matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mosier. Any other public comments on agenda or non-agenda items?
Grab my phone real quick.
You can hand them to our city attorney, and he can get them to our city clerk and hand them out.
Okay. I'm going to keep one set for myself. I didn't have. I have a liveaboard permit and a mooring permit for 12 years in Newport Beach. I have complied with every code that the city has asked me to comply with. I'm also a school teacher in Orange Unified School District. This is my home. That has been my home for 12 years. And the mayor mentioned a horrible tragedy, but no one, and we've honored all these wonderful events. There was a horrible tragedy in Mooring Field A on the 11th of September when a stolen vessel crashed through the mooring field and crashed into 10 boats. My neighbor's boat was sunk. He could have been killed. It happened in the middle of the night, but I've seen zero press. The same thing happened in 2022 when it was on the KTLA 6 o'clock news. It was everywhere. I don't understand why it's not in the news. I would like to know, number one, I also gave you guys pictures, number two, of prior to the council adopting the harbor resources as security for the moorings. When I met Matt Cozyline, he told me that he wanted to put a friendly face on the harbor, and they replaced Orange County Sheriff's Harbor Patrol. The Harbor Patrol has $100,000 of training invested in each one of its officers, and they were replaced by officers with no training by Harbor Resources. And Matt Cozyline, the head, said it was to put a friendly face on the harbor. Since that time, we've had 2 vessels stolen that have crashed into mooring fields. Councilman Eric, I believe this is your area, Mooring Field A. Do you know about this? Because do any of you know that this has happened? Eric, do you know this has happened? Why has it not been in the press?
We're not able to comment.
You can't comment. Okay. I did not know.
That's fine.
I'm very curious about why it's not in the press. I want to know how you guys are guaranteeing my safety in the future. This has happened twice since you brought in a new security agency. And I also want you guys to know I've been living aboard for 12 years. Before you brought the new agency and you had the Orange County Sheriff's Harbor Patrol, they contacted me, the head sheriff contacted me and told me they wanted the contract and wanted me to fight for them. And I told them that I would, and I still am. This new agency that you guys have put in place is not offering the level of security that we used to get. When Orange County Sheriff's Harbor Patrol had the contract, they kept a boat. I gave you a picture because that's what they did. There's a picture of the fish farm with the Orange County Sheriff's Harbor Patrol sitting there. Hopefully you guys got it. Maybe you didn't. I did. Maybe I didn't get it. Sorry. But in any case, I'll get it to you guys in the future. Orange County Sheriff's Harbor Patrol sat at the fish farm at the entrance of the harbor all night, every night, guarding the harbor. As soon as Harbor Resources took over, that stopped. I was safe when we had Orange County Sheriff's Harbor Patrol, trained professionals. You want to talk about firefighting? Look, I saw them. I've been out here for so long that I watched them get their firefighter training on the beach in front of the Sheriff's Department of
All right.
Orange County Sheriff's Harbor Patrol.
I don't know why the buzzer's not working, but the 3 minutes is up. What I would recommend is my contact information. This is part of my district in my area. The Harbor Department is still 100% on the harbor. They're still the public safety agency that's responsible for everyone's safety on the harbor. The Harbor Department is not responsible for actions of that nature. But I'm happy to connect with you offline in a
Very
different
confusing.
format. Yeah, understood.
It needs to be a duplicate of agencies. And also, in the past, if you look at your records, the council used to take bids. There have been no bids taken in how long? Council took bids for this position.
Well, yeah, this is a new department. We'll talk offline.
It's a duplicate department.
So it's only 3 minutes per person.
Yeah. But Mike, send me an email. I'm happy to follow up and reach out and discuss.
I will be following up.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Margaret Shannon, and I live at Coronado and Oceanfront, and I'm here to talk about the garage, the parking garage that's supposed to be put in there. I just wanted to say that I don't know how many of you are down on the peninsula, like at 8 o'clock at night during the summer. Things are backed up for miles. We'll basically be trapped in our homes because we can't get out if we put a parking garage. The one thing we don't need on the peninsula is more cars coming in. And I don't understand why this parking garage was authorized.
Where are you talking about?
The parking garage that they're putting in at like 301 or 310 Coronado and Newport Boulevard.
Yeah, there's no mention of a parking structure that I'm aware of going in. Are you talking about the AT&T building?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no parking structure going in there.
Oh, I got a notice saying that there was.
I mean, that is my district. I would,
I
hopefully
hope.
I would know. I'm not to say if the AT&T building ever left, we'd find more parking in that area potentially, but we don't own that. That's AT&T.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully that resolves your issue. Of course. Happy to help. That's what public comments are all about. I love that. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Let me know if you find something different out. I'd love to know. Okay. Any other comments, agenda or non-agenda? Okay. Seeing none, terrific. We'll have a matter that I have brought forward. And Mr. Mosier, if this were to go past, this is an ad hoc committee that would be council and public members on that committee. So just so you're aware. Okay, per City Council Policy A1, council members may bring forward a matter for consideration, and if approved by a straw vote of the council, staff will return with a report on the matter at a later meeting. The item for consideration is the following. Myself considering creating a city ad hoc committee to evaluate potential sites and access the feasibility, cost, and design of developing a new police station headquarters. All those in favor?
That item carries unanimously.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Okay, moving on to consent calendar. Before we get into this, was item number 10 pulled? Okay. All right, terrific. So I'll make sure the Mayor Pro Tem has it as part of her motion. Okay, prior to consideration on the consent calendar, please note that staff has provided a supplemental memo regarding agenda item number 16. We're good. Do we need to read anything for consent? No? Yeah, do you want to do that right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a time in which council members may pull items from the consent calendar for discussion, items 1 through 20. Public comments are also invited on consent calendar items. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record. If any item is removed from the consent calendar by a council member, members of the public are invited to speak on each item for up to 3 minutes per item. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time the City Council votes on the motion unless members of the City Council request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Okay, terrific. Councilmember Wygan, do you have any items to pull from the consent calendar or conflicts to announce related to items 1 through 20?
I do not, but I will voice a no vote on item number 3.
Okay. Councilmember Bartow.
I do not.
Councilmember Grant?
None.
Councilmember Blum?
None.
Councilmember Weber?
None.
Mayor Pro Tem?
None.
And I have none myself. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, so noting item number 10 has been pulled by staff, and noting Councilmember Wygan voting no on item number 3, I move the consent calendar, including amendment to item number 1, the minutes, and the revised license agreement for item number 16.
Okay, terrific. Do we have a second? Okay, Councilmember Grant seconds. Okay, we'll now have public comments on items 1 through 20 on consent. Any public comments on these items?
Mayor Stapleton, members of the council, my name again is Jim Mosier. There are more items on the consent calendar as usual than one can comment on in the 3 minutes that are provided, but I would like to call attention to item number 13, which is the award of a contract to redesign the city's website, the library website, and the police department websites, which are the major way that the public has to communicate with the city and the city to communicate with the public. And I really wish you would have more involvement in the award of this contract rather than just rubber stamping something presented by the staff. I would note that there were apparently a request for proposals, and there were 21 proposals from firms who apparently said they could do this work. There was an evaluation committee that included somebody from the library and somebody from the police department, but there was nobody from the community development department to review it, nobody from the recreation and senior services, nobody from public works, nobody from the utilities department. All of those I would think would have concerns about what a good website should be and how it would work. And actually the report says 3 of them advanced to the second stage by scoring 70% on the technical evaluation. Actually, when I look at the scores, only 2 of them advanced, which to me is rather odd that out of 21, there would be such a distinction that only 2 would make the cut. And then the one that we're awarding is the highest, most competent of all of them, yet by far has the lowest cost of any of them, which sounds a little bit strange to me. And the staff report says they have extensive experience working with municipalities, but there's no mention here of any city website that they have designed. And so I don't know if any of you have looked at websites that they have designed. I could find only one in California, and I was not terribly impressed by it. Another thing that's odd about this is this was a request for proposals. The city staff said what they wanted done. They received 21 proposals to do it, and yet the contract is an on-call contract. So although there's apparently they had a proposal, but that's not actually the proposal. So now the city will ask for something different, and they will on-call do something for them. It's a little strange. I really think you should be looking at more alternatives that you have and not just accepting this one. And certainly try looking at some other city websites and find some that you think are good, and also that the other departments think are good before awarding a contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Adam Leverins again. There's 8 items on consent I could ramble about, but I'll just hit a couple. Item number 7, park patrol officers having access to the data from the flock cameras, and it indicates that they will receive annual security training. I hope they also enter into some sort of confidentiality agreement. I mean, right now, as I understand it, law enforcement professionals are who have access to that. So I think other people having access to that data who aren't post-certified, they should enter some kind of agreement. And then item number 12, you've heard about me or from me before, reducing the percentage that some city employees have to contribute to their own pensions. And that says there will be an estimated annualized cost of $365,000 to the city. And again, I just advocate that I think people should save for their own pensions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Hello, Mayor Stapleton, members of the council. My name is Robbie LaBounty. I'm a district representative for Supervisor Katrina Foley. I'm here today just to briefly talk about agenda item number 4, which is the prohibition, sale, and distribution of nitrous oxide. First, the supervisor really wanted to thank all of you for your work in taking the lead on the kratom ban here in Newport Beach and recognizing it as a growing public health issue. And I also wanted to just read the letter real quickly from supervisor about this item. I write today in strong support of the ordinance proposed by the Newport Beach Police Chief David Miner to prohibit the sale and distribution of nitrous oxide in the city of Newport Beach. Nitrous oxide is a dangerous, highly addictive inhalant that can cause oxygen deprivation in the brain, leading to dizziness, unconsciousness, or even death. With recent increases in related DUIs, prolonged misuse can result in serious long-term neurological damage, including memory loss, particularly among users aged 16 to 25. A glaring don't ask, don't tell style loophole in state law currently allows retailers, smoke shops, and liquor store owners to sell nitrous oxide so long as they don't ask the buyer if they plan to use it to get high, with many of the products and attachments designed for human consumption. During my October investigative hearing on substance abuse in Orange County, we heard directly from county health officials, safety professionals, and state policymakers about the alarming increase in the use of NOx. In February, the Orange County Board of Supervisors approved our proposed ordinance to ban the retail sale of nitrous oxide in unincorporated Orange County, becoming the first county in California to address the issue. And as a vital city in Orange County, Newport Beach is poised to send a strong signal to the other 33 cities in our county that we must take action to address this public health crisis. I strongly support the adoption of this ordinance. Respectfully, Katrina Foley. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, any further discussion or comments on council? Okay, seeing none, let's vote.
The consent calendar items carry unanimously, noting the no vote from Councilmember Wagon as to item number 3 and the removal of item number 10.
Okay, terrific. City Clerk, will you now read the ordinances that have been adopted?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you very much. One moment. Ordinance number 2025-22, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, California, amending section 10.08.005 definitions and adding section 10.08.012 safe use of medians to chapter 10.08 use of public property and interference with public access to title 10 offenses and nuisances of the Newport Beach Municipal Code relating to the protection of pedestrians, vehicle traffic, and landscaping. Ordinance number 2025-23, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, California, amending Title 15, Building and Construction of the Newport Beach Municipal Code to adopt Chapter 1, Division 2 of the 2025 edition of the California Building Code, the 2024 edition of, adopt Chapter 1, Division 2 of the 2025 edition of the California Building Code, the 2024 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code and Swimming Pool and Spa Code, the 2025 edition of the California Building Code, Residential Code, Electrical Code, Mechanical Code, Plumbing Code, Green Building Standards Code, Historical Code, Existing Building Code, and an Energy Code, and to amend portions of Chapter 15.50, Flood Plan Management, with local amendments. Ordinance number 2025-24, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, California, amending Title 9 Fire Code of the Newport Beach Municipal Code to adopt the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code with local amendments. And ordinance number 2025-25, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, California, adding Chapter 9.07 Wildland Urban Interface Code to Title 9 of the Newport Beach Municipal Code to adopt the 2025 edition of the California Wildland Urban Interface Code with local amendments. Thank you.
That's it?
For now.
Well done. Okay. Terrific. We'll head into public hearings. Item number 21, Community Development Block Grant Program, year 24 to 25, Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Review. Does anyone on council need a staff report on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and skip to number 3. Do anyone have any questions, comments on this item? If not, I will open the public hearing at this moment. Are there any public comments on item number 21? Okay, great. Seeing none, I will go ahead and close public hearing. Any additional council comments or questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve this? I got a motion by Councilman Blom and a second by Councilmember Weber. Let's vote. Somebody has a dinner reservation. I do.
The item carries unanimously.
Okay, terrific. Item number 22, relocation plan for tenants at 301 East Balboa Boulevard. Not a parking structure. Do any council members need a staff report? I don't think so. Seeing none, does anyone have any questions or comments for staff? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Any public comment? Mr. Mosier.
Yes. Mayor Stapleton, I do believe this is the item that you heard the previous comment about. And the reason that comment would have been here, the first sentence of the abstract said that this property at 301 East Balboa Boulevard was acquired for potential future use as a public parking facility. And so probably that person heard something or read something to that effect in the notice. My question about this is the staff report goes into great length about the relocation plan, which apparently you have a copy here for the tenants in the current residence that is there. And they need to be protected and relocated because they were there in the last 5 years. What I do not understand is the sentence at the bottom of the second page of the staff report, 22-2. It says, following the 5-year period and upon the identification of the 3 replacement housing units, the city may proceed with the demolition of the existing structure and the advancement of the project. It did not explain what 5-year period that is talking about. After we relocate the tenants, we have to wait 5 years before we can demolish the building. I don't understand that. And in addition, I think it said here because of the Housing Accountability Act or whatever it is, if a private person would not be allowed to remove the triplex that is there now. So in addition to this relocation plan, am I understanding it, the city is now going to have to, we always hear that we plan for, we don't have to build anything. The city actually has to build or buy 3 residential units somewhere, not necessarily for these tenants, but to replace the 3 that we're removing. That doesn't seem before you tonight. So I'm confused why we have to wait 5 years before building the parking lot or structure, whatever it is, and whether we have to buy or build 3 new units somewhere else in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Adam Leverins again. First thing I'll note, I've spoken of this property before. All the city materials I have seen identify it as a triplex, but the documentation from whoever was contracted to do the study to relocate these folks referred to it as a fourplex. I'm pretty sure it's a triplex, but given the mandates for replacement, you might want to clarify that. And I share some of Mr. Mosier's musings about the staff report, and in it says, prior to acquisition, it was determined that 2 tenant households residing at the property qualified as low income, thereby classifying their units as protected. Under the Act, these units must be replaced with housing subject to a minimum 55-year affordable housing covenant. However, if the units remain vacant for 5 years, the replacement units would not be subject to the affordable covenants. And then following the 5 years, the city could demolish the structure. You've heard me talk numerous times. I've seen a number of instances where affordable housing is wiped off the map here and then not replaced. 55 units where Marina Park is. The intent to get rid of liveaboards on the moorings. This simply a triplex, but proposed to get rid of 3 affordable units and turn it into a parking lot. And I've recently become aware that the old trailer park up by the Santa Ana River in PCH is kind of under threat. There needs to be some focus on actually providing affordable housing, and I'm concerned the way the staff report's worded that there could be an intent to simply wait 5 years so as not to be subject to the replacement. And I'm probably a little bit paranoid given some of the things I've seen come out of the city. But we keep seeing projects come forth, but very little in the realm of affordable housing. And I think, again, consideration needs to be given to that for the people who serve your cocktails and cook your burgers and do all those other things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments on this item?
About the affordable housing and my
Would you
home.
please just
My
state
name
your
is Sandy Manich. I have a liveaboard permit on my mooring A193. I've had it for 12 years. I'm a school teacher, public school teacher, Orange Unified School District. I find this appalling what the city has done to the mobile home park, that they took out the mobile home park where people lived and put in the offices of Harbor Resources. How did that pass the commission, the land commission?
This is not anything to do with the mobile home park. This is about the unit 301
Well,
East
he was
Balboa.
addressing affordable housing.
Sure. You
I'm
can
talking
talk
about the affordable
housing.
housing that was eliminated by taking out all of those homes. And the city put in a building to serve with ocean view for themselves.
Ma'am, you need to focus on the 301 property. There's not a general discussion
I'm
of affordable
sorry.
housing.
I'm new at this. I'll get better at it.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public comments on this item? Okay. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close public hearing. Mr. Georges, would you like to just, or Lauren, would you like to provide just a quick background on what is going on here with the extension maybe, or potential 5 years, or what that looks like?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the 5 years is provided so that the city has time to identify replacement units. We need to identify 3 replacement units somewhere in the city. 2 of those units have to be affordable unless we extend the project past 5 years, at which point we would just need to replace the 3 units, not 2 affordable units.
And the city's not responsible for building those units?
We are not. We just have to identify new units in the city that we can tie to those
And
replacements.
the tenants that are in the property right now are being compensated in something, they're being compensated to vacate the property.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. So no one's being kicked out of a affordable unit and being put on the streets. They're being compensated for the city purchasing that site.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And it is a triplex, not a quad. It's a triplex, and we're certainly not going to build a structure on that one lot, but it is, potential parking in the future, but not a parking lot. That's not a parking structure on that site.
Correct.
Yeah.
There is an illegal fourth unit, but we're not required to replace that because it's illegal.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Duly noted. Put that on the
Thank you.
record. There's none of those on the peninsula, luckily. Okay, cool. Any additional comments on council up here? If not, I'll go ahead and make a motion. Do I have a second? Councilmember Weber, seconds. Discussion. Let's vote.
The item passes unanimously.
Okay, terrific. Time to move on to current business. This is item number 23, initiation of zoning code and local coastal program amendments related to smoke shops, smoking lounges, and other tobacco-related businesses, and establishing a temporary moratorium of tobacco retailers. And I think I would like a staff report on this, so the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Jaime Murillo, acting Director of Community Development, and with me I have Associate Planner Oscar Orozco, and he'll be providing a brief presentation.
Thank you, Jaime. Oscar Orozco here with the Planning Division, presenting the temporary moratorium and initiation of code amendment for tobacco-related uses within the city of Newport Beach. To begin, I'd like to provide a little bit of background. In recent years, the city of Newport Beach has experienced a significant rise in public safety concerns related to the accessibility and the use of nitrous oxide as well as flavored tobacco. More specifically, the police department has noticed there have been an increase in arrest of over 720%. That's from 2020 to 2024. And they project that by the end of this year, there would be approximately a total of 50 arrests. In addition to that, there is a rising trend in student use of flavored tobacco, and the Newport Beach Police Department has received 15 community complaints about local smoke shops within the last 2 years. In addition to that, there has also been illegal activity at local tobacco retailers. The police department, via warrant searches, has uncovered illegal sales of marijuana, controlled substances, nitrous oxide, psilocybin, which is more commonly known as mushrooms, and prohibited tobacco products to adults and minors. More specifically, 2 examples include in May of 2024, the police department arrested at a retail use known as Plug and Smoke and Sneakers within Corona del Mar, specific to the illegal activity as previously mentioned. And more recently, in June of this year, the police department seized 454 pounds of illegal cannabis, psilocybin, nitrous oxide at a retailer known as Tobacco and Accessories within within Corona del Mar as well. With that, both community concern as well as the police department illegal activity identification, and at the direction of the council, staff is recommending the establishment of a temporary moratorium for 45 days on any new tobacco retailer businesses, as well as the relocation or the expansion of existing tobacco retailer businesses. That specific temporary moratorium requires a 4/5 vote of the council and would be effective immediately for the next 45 days. Notably, that moratorium may be extended further after a public hearing. The first extension would be allowed up to 10 months and 15 days, and a second extension subsequent to that would be allowed up to a full year. The intention of that temporary moratorium is to address the safety concerns related to the police department and the community members, and to cover those concerns while staff goes through the zoning code amendment and local coastal program to address the items related to tobacco use. That is specific, directed by council in a previous council meeting. And the intention of that amendment is to regulate tobacco retail, smoke shops, smoking lounges, and related businesses. In that initiation of the zoning code and local coastal program amendment, staff sees potential revisions to the code, which would include the establishment of a tobacco land use permit requirement. The current zoning code does not identify a land use category for tobacco sales, and it falls under retail, which is generally outright permitted in most commercial zoning districts throughout the city. In addition to the introduction of that as a potential revision, there would also be introductions of definitions that don't currently exist as it relates to these land use categories, as well as new standards and regulations, such as hours of operations, separation requirements from this type of use to sensitive uses or other uses similar to this. As a next step for staff, assuming you go ahead and approve or adopt the resolution to initiate the zoning code amendment tonight, would be to actually draft the specific zoning code language as well as the local coastal program text changes, which would ultimately be going to Planning Commission for review and consideration, and after that to the City Council for approval. Notably, the local coastal program amendments would require approval by the California Coastal Commission, so that would occur subsequent to the City Council review and approval of any potential revision. With that being said, staff recommends adopting the resolution for the initiation of the zoning code and local coastal program amendments, and adopting the temporary moratorium via the ordinance attached to the staff report. Thank you. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions, and so is Acting Director of Community Development Department, Jaime Murillo.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Coastal Commission's involved, so we'll be fine. This will be quick. Councilmember Grant.
Thank you for that presentation. It actually clarified quite a bit that was in the staff report and made it a little easier to understand. One additional clarification, if the way I understand it, this particular review of the code that we're doing is merely to address the sale of tobacco. It doesn't address the use of tobacco in our city?
That's correct. So with this amendment, we're really looking to regulate the land use of a smoke shop or a retailer.
So if we wanted to expand that inquiry to include a review of where tobacco is used in our city and potentially other restrictions or maybe expansion of use, that would have to be a separate, or could we add that to this? I guess I'm asking the city attorney.
Yeah, I think you could expand the scope to say that we'll also look at where smoking in general is permitted, not permitted as part of the scope of this, as far as what they're reviewing.
Yeah, I think I'd be interested in adding that. It seems like it kind of goes hand in hand in a sense. I know that we do restrict smoking in our city, in our public parks, and our beaches. I think I confirmed with this community development director that's the only places, and it might be appropriate at this time, since we're looking at where we're selling it, that we also look at where we're using it. We are looking at uses, for example, in smoke shops or other places, but I'm talking about also looking at maybe some of the more densely populated areas or business, densely populated business areas in our city that might benefit from a review of the use in those areas.
Yeah, and that'd be something separate from kind of the land use changes that go in the other regulations, but that's something we can look at as part of this.
Okay, do we need to include that in the motion, or it would just be like, well, whatever, when we get there?
I think you go ahead and add it onto the motion.
Okay, Councilmember Kleiman, or Mayor Pro Tem Kleiman.
Well, I'm looking at the description of the agenda item on the screen here. Includes smoking lounges and other tobacco-related businesses. So I would assume that what Councilmember Grant is referring to is related. It certainly was part of my A1 motion. But I too want to thank you for the very comprehensive staff report, and I want to thank my colleagues for the support bringing this item back to the dais. Also for supporting the protections with kratom and nitrous oxide that we previously voted on. I receive a lot of emails from parents whose teens are using vape or other paraphernalia that's been sold to them by these smoke shops who are targeting and profiting off of our youth. District 6, obviously, we just heard, has certainly had our share of issues with these bad operators, but I don't think the problems are limited to that district or even to Newport Beach. We are seeing a number of other cities around us taking steps to put protections in place for their communities. So I am fully in favor of moving these measures and regulations forward. Thank you.
Okay. Any other council comments? Seeing none, we'll go to public comments. Any public comments on this item? Mr. Mosier.
Yes, my name is Jim Mosier. I am not a fan of smoking. As to our regulations on where it's allowed, if you paid close attention to the agenda, the consent calendar that you are approving tonight, item 3B was introducing an ordinance that was amending Chapter 6.25, Regulation of Smoking in Public Areas. So you actually did just introduce a ordinance revising that. And if you read my written comments, I believe that chapter is in need of some revision, but not only to add new regulations, some of the regulations in it, I think are redundant with statewide regulations, of which there are many on where smoking can occur. As to this item right now, I saw in the lobby that there were a couple of letters commending the council for cracking down on smoke shops. But I wanted to mention in the moratorium that you're adopting, which is titled Regulations Relating to Tobacco Retailer Businesses, also known as smoke shops, the only place the word smoke shops appears in that title. And what it is regulating is tobacco retailer businesses. And you'll find the definition on that on page 23-10. And it means any person who sells, offers for sale, distributes, blah, 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 with or without compensation, a tobacco product, tobacco paraphernalia, or tobacco-related item. So any store in Newport Beach that sells anything related to tobacco, by my reading of that, is a tobacco retailer business and the subject of this moratorium. So that, I think, would include markets that sell tobacco as part of their wares. And the term tobacco-related item is not defined. I would certainly think like a nicotine withdrawal patch or something that's to prevent tobacco use would be a tobacco-related item. Any store that sells anything of that sort also would seem to be a tobacco retailer business by this clear definition. And so it's a very sweeping moratorium that seems to deal with a lot more things than smoke shops. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring any additional council comments. Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move the initial staff recommendation without the added language to adjust policy. So I'd like to keep it as is, if possible.
Okay, do I have a second? Councilmember Weber? Discussion?
I'd make an alternate motion to add a review of the policies of where smoking is allowed in the city.
I just want to add one thing. I do think we did bring forward tonight about some of the tobacco changes. I do think we already have guidance on that from Mayor Pro Tem Kleinman's previous direction that we got from the City Council last meeting. So I'm not sure it needs to be added to this. We'll go ahead and take a look at locations for smoking in general. But I had forgotten that yours was very broad as far as the direction from Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, as long as it's included in the motion, I would move forward then.
Okay. All right, so I got a first and a second. Who's second? Weber? Okay, terrific. Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, terrific. Madam Clerk, please read the motion for reconsideration.
Certainly. Should I read the ordinance title? Thank you. Yes. One moment. I will go ahead and read the ordinance title for ordinance number 2025-31, an urgency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, California, establishing a temporary moratorium on the establishment and operation of new tobacco retailer businesses and the relocation or physical expansion of existing tobacco retailer businesses, also known as smoke shops. And regarding the motion for consideration, a motion to reconsider the vote on any action taken by the city council at either this meeting or the previous meeting may be made only by one of the council members who voted with the prevailing side.
Okay, any motions for reconsideration? Okay, hearing none, I ask that this evening we adjourn in the memory of Charlie Kirk. Charlie was born on October 14th, 1993 in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and raised in Prospect Heights. Even as a young man, Charlie stood out. He became an Eagle Scout, spoke up in high school, volunteered in political campaigns, and began writing and arguing for ideas he believed in. At 18, Charlie co-founded Turning Point USA, an organization that came to influence and organize thousands of young people across college campuses through debates, media, public events, and committed activism. He authored books, hosted daily shows, and became known for encouraging civil debate as a way forward in politics. In 2021, he married his wife, Erica, and together they had 2 children, a daughter in August of 22 and a son in May of 24. He often spoke of how much he cherished his family, his faith they shared, and the kind of community he wanted for his children. His tragic death on September 10th in Utah at an event at a university campus was a shocking reminder of the perils of political polarization and violence, but it also reminded us of the potential in engagement and speaking up and pushing for what one believes in, right, with civility and conviction. Charlie made many feel like they knew him. He spoke plainly, he took risks, and he asked others to do the same. Charlie was a champion of civil debate and respectful discussion on the political issues of our time. His tragic murder is a sobering reminder of the rise in politically charged violence in America, and that violence has no place in a civilized society. We extend our deepest prayers and condolences to his wife, Erica, and their 2 young children in this time of profound loss. May we honor his life not only with our memories, but with a renewed commitment to civil discourse, respectful dialogue, and safety for all in our community and nation. May his soul rest in peace. We are adjourned. Thank you.